Season 4 of Formula E is here. And in this episode, we're going to be covering Race 1 in Hong Kong. It's Gear 1.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I am Ed.
And I'm Noel.
And today we're going to be talking about the first race of Season 4 of Formula E. So much to cover. But before we do that, let's first note what the changes are from Season 3 to Season 4.
Right. So there'll be a couple of changes between Season 3 and Season 4. But the most notable of the changes is the 10 kilowatts of extra power that cars will have available to them. The cars will not necessarily be driving a further distance because they'll still be using the same batteries, which are the same batteries essentially from Season 1. But they'll have more power available to them. So when they attempt overtaking maneuvers with fan boost, they should be able to achieve higher top speeds. So for qualifying, first place went to John-Eric Vergne from Techeetah. Second place went to Sam Bird from DS Virgin, and third place went to Nick Heidfeld from Mahindra.
Now, many of you may be asking what happened to Lucas di Grassi, the current reigning Formula E Season 3 champion. Well, he didn't fare as well as those three. He actually ended up in P6. Now, one of the things that was kind of unique about this race were some of the technical issues that were experienced in Race 1. Most notable was the inability to display the energy levels of the vehicles to the pits.
Right, at least for the first half of the race.
At least for the first half of the race. They eventually figured it out, and I don't know if it was from the interference from all of the buildings or just problems with their communication.
It was probably a combination of the buildings, and they probably may have had relays in previous years that they didn't have this year. Or, you know, it might have been a new provider for radio equipment.
But whatever the case, it was really interesting because this race showed you position on the side, but it didn't show you anything about what their actual percentage battery levels remained.
Right.
The drivers actually had to radio that back to their pits in order for them to figure out whether they should box or what.
Lights went out, they took off. Surprisingly, everybody made it through turn 1 without a hitch.
Yeah.
Might have been some very light contact, but probably not much.
It was very uneventful, turn 1.
Turn 2 went great too. Now, when they went through the turn 3 and turn 4 chicane, that's where things got a little bit sideways, so to speak.
Yeah, or not quite sideways, but you know, honestly, if it
mostly sideways.
If it went sideways, it probably would have been less of a problem.
Well, so the FIA has ruled that all their circuits have to at least have has to allow the width of 3 cars through any given spot. Now, that may be true for turns 3 and 4, that combination chicane of the Hong Kong circuit. But with their proximity to each other, no driver would ever really drive the full distance of that chicane. The lead car sort of got through okay, and it was amazing that anyone did after the first car.
There's quite a few cars that actually got through.
Yeah.
But as you start to get closer toward mid-pack or into the back markers, Andre Lauderer, he was trying to go on the outside of a bunch of folks that were, 2 cars wide, and he just couldn't get in, and he caught like the front corner of his car. Barely hit it very hard at all, but he got stuck. And not only that, but like 3 other vehicles got stuck directly behind him, almost in like a perfect arc. It was really wacky.
But incredible in the fact that none of the vehicles took themselves or anyone else out of the race. There might have been some light contact, but not enough to actually warrant a vehicle from being removed from racing.
Not even the first lap of the race in turn 3 and 4.
Right, and then it was red flag.
Yeah, red flag, and that red flag lasted a long time.
Yeah, well, they had to, all red flags always last long because they have to stop the race. So they stopped the race, they reconfigured, they reset the current running order in the pits, and then they left the pits with the safety car. And then by lap 5, you had Buemi and di Grassi, that, intense rivalry, sort of rear its head again. The 2 cars made contact in turn 1, and di Grassi got the worst of it. Broke his rear suspension. He had to pit early, and he had to swap cars. And unlike Mexico, it didn't work out for him.
I think he finished like third last or something like that.
Yeah, he was essentially towards the end of the pack by race end.
Because he jumped into his new car when other cars were still like 40%. So
I think cars were like at 60%.
Yeah, they were pretty high up there. He was, I think,
we couldn't tell because that telemetry wasn't available.
Oh yeah, good point. It wasn't available at the time, but yeah, toward the end, that's when we saw.
Yeah.
For much of the race from that point, it was Jean-Eric Vergne and Sam Bird. Those two were pretty much leading the pack, and it was pretty much everyone else fighting for third. Vergne was in front, Bird was in second. And then around what, lap 20?
Yeah.
Bird has this amazing maneuver and he takes the lead. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah, so a little later on during the car swaps, midway through the race, Sam Bird pits and has an unfortunate incident where he makes contact with the garage and nearly like spears one of the Pirelli engineers.
Yeah, the guy actually did a pretty good move. He like sort of...
The guy had cat-like reflexes.
He saw the car was coming, sort of lifted up. I don't know if he tried to parkour off of it or stop it with his foot, but he just ended up like just avoiding, getting hit by it and, fell over. He seemed fine. He was able to get up on his own like right away. I'm sure it freaked him out.
Anyway. As a result of Sam Bird's exuberant entry into his garage, he was penalized, and on lap 28 he served a drive-through penalty. Now the strange thing about this drive-through penalty is that the bogey time in Formula E is considerably less than that of you might be familiar with in other sports. It may have been specifically the Hong Kong circuit. Mm-hmm. At the time he served his penalty, he was something like 7 seconds in the lead. Mm-hmm. And by the time he had pulled out and rejoined lap traffic, he was still in first place.
Yeah, he only lost about 6 seconds from whatever his lead was. And the interesting thing was, he didn't get the penalty because he crashed into the thing. He got the penalty because he hopped out of the car after he crashed and ran into the garage to do his switch. And there's a specification in the rules that you must be in the garage when you do your car swap. So because of that, he got the penalty, which I think was very fair. And it was fair. It was good of them. Yeah.
Yeah, he served his penalty, although no one expected that the bogey time was going to be so short for Hong Kong.
No, he himself even said so in post-interview that he thought that he had lost the lead and that who was it?
Vergne.
Yeah, that Vergne had gotten in front of him, or even Rosenqvist at the time.
Yeah. So, anyways, the race concluded with Sam Bird finishing first, Jean-Eric Vergne finishing second, and Felix Rosenqvist taking third. Fastest lap went to Daniel Abt.
Yeah. So Sam Bird, he really showed that he and the DS Virgin vehicle really have some capability in New York, and he's showing it again, here in season one.
Towards the end of season 4. Towards the end of last season, they definitely demonstrated that they had the pace to be race winners. They've sort of always had that. I think it's finally coming together. This might be the season for them. We'll see. It's an interesting start to season 4. Looking forward to the rest of the season.
So that's a wrap on Formula E Season 4, Round 1 in the Hong Kong doubleheader. Be sure to check out our coverage of our next video of the Round 2. Yeah. If you like what you saw, be sure to like us and subscribe to us so you can keep up to date with all of the videos that we release. And be sure to share us with other folks as well that you think might get a kick out of what we do.
And if you have anything to say, feel free to leave your comments in the place below.
And with that, we're going to sign off saying, I'm Ed, telling you to stay safe.
And I'm Noel, telling you to stay fast.
We'll see you in our next video. Goodbye.